listening to Her Profit Era, the podcast for founders who want a business that actually works, a business that's profitable, predictable, and pays them well. I am Cindy Kumar, a CPA, a fractional CFO from Abbotsford, BC, Canada. I'm the person founders call when they're tired of high revenue months with no money left over. I started this podcast because too many founders were chasing sales while their margins, cash flow, and bank accounts told a completely different story. I believe profit and money in the bank is the standard, not a bonus, and that every founder deserves clarity around their numbers. Each week, you'll get real financial strategy you can actually use and honest conversations with founders and industry experts about what it really takes to build a business that lasts. Today, I'm joined by Zularie Montiel, a licensed esthetician, beauty entrepreneur, educator, and coach for beauty business owners. She's spent over a decade in the beauty industry, building and running service-based businesses, starting from hands-on aesthetics work and growing into operating and scaling within the salon space. More recently, she's expanded into coaching, supporting other beauty professionals with cash flow, structure, and the business side of running a service-based brand. In this conversation, we talk about cash flow inside a beauty business, what it actually takes to run and grow operations in this industry, and how decision making shifts when you start thinking more intentionally about structure and sustainability. We also get into her personal shift around lifestyle, prioritizing her health, taking better care of herself, and how that has influenced both her energy and the way she shows up in business. So let's get into the conversation. Hi, Zularie. Thanks so much for joining me on Her Profit Era.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to chat. I feel like so much has happened since we last saw each other last summer in Rich Girl.
I know. I can't believe it's gonna be a year already. I'm
Yeah,
like, wait,
totally.
we were just there.
Yeah. And I feel like so much has changed for like both of us since.
For sure, for sure. I felt like last year I think we needed to do what we had to do so that we could be where we are right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And how long have you been like in the beauty space for?
Um, Going on like 10 years. Yeah.
Wow,
10 years in the space, and then I've had my business in July. We make year 4. So,
that's amazing.
yeah.
And then was it something specific about beauty services that you're like drawn to?
I always loved it was always just like the connecting with people. I always loved just making people feel good about themselves, kind of just like enhancing what they already have. And just, I think along the way, what has gotten me to stay really is like connecting with people. I've met so many amazing clients that have like literally shaped my life into what it is now. So I think that's like where the rest of my business comes into play, because from there I started like branching beyond the beauty services, and it was still all about connection. So that's always been the main pillar for me for everything that I do.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, and then you got into like speaking, hosting events, even
Yeah.
coaching. So how do
Yeah.
you like manage your time throughout like all the different services and things you're doing?
Oh my gosh. I'm usually just, I always say like it's always like a series of trade-offs, it's
Yeah,
always like because there's no such thing as balance. Like I don't care what anybody really says,
so
because
true.
as an entrepreneur, there's so many things that you have to handle, especially as like CEOs, like only you can do it. So I feel like just knowing what your priorities are. So for me, I'm very clear as to what my priorities are, and then everything else just like falls in line. And also just having grace with myself when I can't get things done how I would like in the timely manner. It's like, okay, if we don't get to it today, we're going to get to it tomorrow. And it's just like being okay with the pivot.
Yeah.
But just getting clear, like, okay, these are our goals for whatever, like this week, this quarter. And then just just time blocking, honestly. Like that's how I get through it. But at the end of the day, it is always trade-offs because things happen out of our control. And, I also realize after seasons of being very unbalanced where like business was always coming first and I wasn't pouring into myself, it was like almost like I was doing my business a disservice too. So I would say like now those trade-offs are like, okay, well, I still have to prioritize me time. I still have to force myself to take days off. Like it's a force. Like I'm like just like
Yeah.
as much as I work,
Yeah.
I gotta relax too. So basically like me staying like on schedule is just being clear with like what's important to me right now.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot more women are realizing like the whole hustle culture just doesn't
Yeah.
work in the long run.
Correct. Yes, it does. I think it's necessary. It's definitely a season. Like I would not be here had it been for the hustle. But is it sustainable? No, I don't think it is, and you don't really need to hustle so much to scale the way that you want to. I think it's really just about working harder. It doesn't mean like you're not gonna hustle. It's just like a different type of hustle, you know?
Yeah, and was there something that shifted for you that made you realize that like it wasn't sustainable to operate that way anymore?
Yeah, like I realized I felt like I was working like 24/7 and then I would look at my bank account. I'm like, that doesn't really,
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's not mathing. The math is not mathing. And then I
Yeah.
realized I was just pouring so much into things that weren't driving revenue, like non-revenue driving things. And that's something now like I have been very aware of. And it's like, okay, now my business, what are the things that are actually like making us money and what's not, and then what, so based on that, that's what's going to get the most of my energy.
That totally makes
For
sense.
sure. Yeah. So like after last year, it's like last year specifically, I felt like last year really showed me, it tested me a lot on what I was capable of, having, the honor to like speak as well as host my own events, put together those events, it really just, as great as it was, I was very exhausted by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it just came down to like things that I'm implementing now. It's like having the right systems, having the right team, and that just takes time and more intention. And that's where I'm more shifting now. So, like, after you burn out a little bit, you're kind of like, okay, what can we do better for the future?
Yeah, I can totally relate to that too, because it was like last year, all the
Yeah.
speaking stuff, the Rich Girl event, like
Yes.
everything was so much fun. But at the same time, just saying yes to everything, you're not just creating space to actually like think of things or like be like, I don't need to do everything in like year one of my business.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then from like a numbers perspective, you mentioned that you would look at things that you're doing in your business to see what drives the most revenue and the more money in the bank. Did you always feel comfortable looking at your bank account and looking at the finances?
No, no, Cindy, you know me now. You've seen me. I'm like, no, and I think like,
Yeah,
especially as, women and then minority women, like we're just not very programmed to talk about money.
so
And
true.
that is, yeah. And that's something that I have learned to be comfortable, like I'm becoming comfortable with because we can't ignore the numbers.
Yeah,
I just can't, I can't. And that's the whole point of business. Like if you are scared of looking at your bank account and it's not going to last very long before you
yeah,
hit like a major bump in the road. So yeah, no, I would say this year because it's one thing to like make a lot of money and then it's just another to like manage it and then keep it and then take that money to make more of it. It's completely different because I say you can mess around and make a lot of money. Like anyone can. You can mess around, you can have a really great business idea and it pops off and you make all the money that you want, but then what happens? You don't know what to do with it. If there's no
true.
intention, there's no plan, like that money's just gonna disappear, because all you're gonna
Yeah,
see is that the bank account's looking nice.
yeah,
But yeah, so for me this year has like definitely been more structure, looking at my bank account, like not being scared of it.
yeah,
Healing that relationship has definitely been something I'm working on this year.
yeah, no, for sure. And then how often are you looking at like your bank account? Like, are you looking at your finances like on a weekly basis, monthly
Oh,
basis,
every
every
day.
day? Yeah.
Every day. Sometimes I get myself feeling like a little like, oh my gosh, I don't want to look, but I'm like, girl,
Yeah,
There's money in there. And if there's not enough, if there's not as much as you may think, like there's always more on its way. You know,
so
that's
true.
yeah, like I'm like, okay, today it's not looking how I ideally in my head would want, but we're the business is open today. We're seeing clients. So, yeah, I was now I've become like obsessed with it a little bit,
Yeah.
especially like the reports of our business. Like I'm always looking now. I'm always like, okay, this is how much we're projecting to make, but what can we do to maybe exceed that or make sure that we hit it, you know? So it's like even though it's uncomfy, it has definitely helped me maintain and where we've been this year.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I think another thing is that we think that, okay, like we only have a certain amount in our bank account. Like, it's not that we stopped working and the money is not coming. It's just like a
Yeah.
matter of timing.
Exactly, exactly. Like had a moment yesterday 'cause I was like, "Oh my God, it's a holiday. Where's my deposit?" And then I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, everything came rushing in." So it's like things like that and then also just know. It's just always like if you have a plan and you know where that money's gonna go, like it eases a lot more stress than just letting it all come in and then you just try to figure it out then. Yeah.
And was it easy to like hire a team and let go of control of everything in your business?
No. No, I'm actually like I feel like I'm not a controversial. I would say like I don't give the common answer that some business owners do. Like they're like, "Oh no, like this is my baby. I want to make sure people are doing it the same way as I do." I never got into business because I wanted to do it all by myself. And that is also like it comes with letting other people in, seeing what they do with your ideas, their own take. Because just because I think something is one way doesn't mean that's the best way. And it's always good to have another perspective. So, no, I'm okay. Honestly, take the reins. Take the reins. I think for me, what with growing a team is being very clear what the vision of the business is so that I can communicate that and pass that along so that we're always on the same page because that's usually what happens. It's like it's not only like the scare being scared of like the loss of control. It's like what are people going to do with your vision? But if you're clear with it and you know how to communicate that, you also have the right systems, SOPs, you have all the you have all the things, then there it's going to be very clear, like people are going to follow it like a manual that you don't need to be there. Yeah, so for me I'm like, please everyone, let's divvy this up because I don't want to do it all by myself.
I feel like a lot of women struggle to like pay themselves and then like bringing on a team member. It's like they're scared to lose out on money
For
by
sure,
paying
for
that
sure.
person too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's like a mindset thing as well. Because honestly, having a team allows me to pursue other things, other sides of the business, other ventures. So I don't look at it that way as a loss of income because truly, like I said, I'm not trying to do this on my own. So it would for and time is just another form of currency for me that I would much rather have my time than money, like so if that means like how we have the split now is I'm not in my studio all the time. I have my set days,
Yeah.
but I have my esthetician who's there other days of the week. And, I never look at it like, oh my gosh, she's taking my money. I'm like, no, thank God. Like now we get to be open 6 days a week. Whereas for me, it was only like four, like I still wasn't adding more to my plate because, so yeah, I never look at it that way. I think that's more of just a mindset thing that people, if that's how you feel, then it's just something to reevaluate. Like, why do you feel that way, and then how can you overcome that?
Yeah, totally. And what's like one money lesson you wish you would have learned sooner?
Oh, just track it, look at it.
Yeah.
I think that's it, and really understanding how money works, and it's like like for me, I've always been, and I'm getting out of this because now I see it. It's like, we say that, oh, I don't have enough money, so how can I do all these things? How can I save? And how can I save? And I think about it. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't manage your pennies, how are you going to get to those dollars? There's like a saying like that or something, right? And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's true. Like if I can't manage the $500 that I got from my business, and I'm saying that's not enough, how am I ever going to know how to manage the thousands, the 10,000s, and more if I don't learn how to work what I got? And believe it or not, even if you like say you have $100, if you just know how you're divvying it up, like it's just going to start multiplying. So I think just no matter what stage you're in, like just do what you can with what you have, and then it's going to continue to grow before you know it.
That's such great advice. Now I want to talk about like the health journey you've been on because
Oh,
like you're just glowing.
oh, thank you.
So like what changed? Like was it something internal or you just like I've been so focused on the business, I really need to prioritize myself now.
Yeah, a lot of things. So, when I first started my business 4 years ago, I mean, I started entrepreneurship, and if you know, you know, that's a lot. I went from working out 6 days a week to not even hitting the gym. On top of that, I dealt with, a lot of family things. My mom got sick during my first year in business, and she passed away. So dealing with grief as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so dealing with grief, dealing with starting a business. And for me, I'm the type that if when I'm stressed, I swell up.
Yeah.
I am
Like
like,
me.
oh my gosh. Like, yeah, so that's how I coped with everything, like, also I wasn't eating the healthiest. I was actually eating my feelings for about like 2 years. So that emotional binge eating, just eating whatever because it made me feel good because life was not good. So I was like, let me take comfort in my food. And then I got in a relationship. So like everything that could happen just happened, and it led to me like being the heaviest that I was. And you know I got to a point where I just didn't feel good about myself, and I didn't feel good in how I looked. And I think that especially as business owners, it's just like we have to feel our best to do our best,
So true.
and yeah, and I just knew I wasn't feeling my best. It wasn't just about the weight and like the physical. It was like it was about me. Like it was about my mental health. It was about just like how internally I felt. I was very like low energy. I couldn't concentrate on things. Like it was not a good place. I didn't want to stay there. Like I understood why I got there, and I understood that it was kind of necessary. Like at the end of the day, my body was just doing what it had to do to protect me.
So
And
true.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm very grateful that this is as bad as it could be. Like
Yeah.
I just gained weight, and my psoriasis is acting up and all the things. So I'm grateful that's all that it was, because we know like chronic stress and all the things can lead to even more serious things. So I didn't want to let it get to that point. I knew that if I just implemented the right routine, I was going to be better, and I was going to think better, and I was going to make better decisions. And if we make better decisions as business owners, guess what? Our business is going to reflect that. And just in my life, too, I just wanted to have a healthier life. And that's when I started just like doing all the things like eating better, working out, um, whatever supplements I had to take, I took them, and I just like maintained consistency in that, and it's been working really, really well for me, and I'm a lot happier. I'm not like leaning on things that I used to, which was one thing when I like last year, that was a big thing. Like I would post on my Instagram like, yeah, I'm drinking like an energy drink at 8 9 p.m. and then I'm going to sleep at like 2 3 a.m., waking up at like 9 and doing it all over again.
Yeah.
And that just like wasn't sustainable. It was not, but it was necessary because I was doing a lot of projects last year. I had to be up.
Yeah.
But I told myself, I was like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this again.
Did you have like resistance at the beginning?
Resistance like towards the health
Yeah,
journey.
towards the health, like going to the gym and just like
Oh
eating
yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been trying to get in shape for like 2 years. Like, I've been trying. It wasn't just like this year. I've been trying. But as we get older, like things just aren't the same, and my body was definitely a lot different. I had different priorities from when I was younger. I always tried to gain weight, and this time the weight was there. I
wow.
was trying to lose it. I know. So it was opposite. It was just like a different journey. And, a lot of it's like just your environment too. Like it does your environment support the goals that you want? And I realized like mine wasn't. So I had to change that. And that takes time. Like it just takes time. That's why I had to have a lot of grace with myself. Like if things weren't working as fast as I wanted them to. I was becoming that version of myself, and it was just little steps along the way and bumps along the road and setbacks but we got here. We're getting there. I feel like I'm finally like in a groove now,
Yeah.
and we're good.
Yeah, and I think the hardest thing is like wanting results like instantly. I feel like everything's so quick these days, and like even
For
Instagram, we see
sure.
all these people like have like these nice bodies, you're doing all these things, and it's like you want those things, but it's like it takes time and like patience to build that.
Exactly. Like it might seem like, oh wow, she's just like I just lost the weight and I'm looking like this like after a couple months, but it took me years to get here.
Yeah.
Years to like make the decisions that I had to make to get to where I am. Like even for me, I'm like, oh, it hasn't even been that long, but when I think about it, I'm like, actually, I've been like fighting this, trying to get to where I've been for quite a while now.
Yeah, and I can totally relate to that too, because like I've dealt with like the emotional eating and like this year
Yeah.
in February, I'm like, I'm just so sick of my shit.
Like we're done. No more
Yeah,
excuses. It's
we're
time to
done with
hit the gym.
everything. Yeah.
Pick the salad, even though I'm not a salad eater. I'm sorry. I just like
Yeah.
but but we got to make those better decisions. It's like enough is enough because time is going to keep going,
Yeah.
before you know it, you're going to be talking about this for like 5 years and you still haven't done anything. And I didn't want to get to that point. Like eventually I want a family and all the things. I just want to have a couple of years where I feel very good about me and my body before, I put it through whatever I got to do to have that. I was like, let me just be hot for a couple of years. So I got to start now.
Do you still find time to like do social things or like even going out to restaurants? Because I feel like a lot of times people think they have to cut out like their social life or even like eating out or like even drinking to be like all in on taking care of their body.
No, I don't know. I'm about like more balance for sure. I go out with my friends for happy hours. I have been doing more like social events too because I was doing just a lot of business things. And at the end of the day, everything feeds the other, right? So just because like I stopped going to like so many business networking events doesn't mean I going out to these social events won't help me in that way either. I think it for me was just like being just like finding myself again, like being a more well-rounded person. And then the growth that the business experience is just going to be a result of me taking care of myself.
So
So,
true.
yeah. So for me, it was like, I just believe in like because one of my priorities is my friendships, is my community, it's my family. So spending time with them,
Yeah.
that is a big priority for me. So yeah, no, I'll go out, I'll have a good time, all in moderation. This is why I'm like, let me time block, let me make sure we get all the things that we have to do. But I'm really grateful that, my social life naturally ties into my business anyways. So it's kind of like an extension of each other. It's just more of like a relaxed version. So I have designed my life to do that for me right now. So I'm very grateful that it just like everything just flows really nicely.
Yeah, and I love seeing your content because you're so transparent about and everything, like your business, your life, like the highs, the lows. So have you always felt like you were comfortable doing that, especially like showing up on social media?
No, no, not really, because I think we all have that moment like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares what I'm going through? But the more that I did it, and the more that people responded to me and they were like, "Oh my gosh, like I feel the same way." And that just encouraged me to continue because we're not alone.
Yeah.
And now for me, it's not only just receiving a response because a lot of times I don't get a response, but I know someone's watching. And maybe if they don't say anything, that doesn't mean what I said doesn't resonate with someone. I'm just like putting it out there. Like if I feel called to say something,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. And if there's a response, there's a response. If there's not, there's not. I'm just talking to myself. Nobody knew anyways.
Yeah. And the story expires.
Right, right. But I think like just seeing other people do it as well and like how it makes me feel, like
Yeah.
I want to pass that forward to my following too. So, I always like people ask me like, "Oh my gosh, like I just can't talk to the camera. Like it just feels so awkward." But, the more you do it, the better you get, the more comfortable you become. But if you don't start, you'll never get there.
That's so true. Yeah. And what got you into like coaching like beauty entrepreneurs?
I always loved helping other women. I think when I had like my successes after coaching, I just wanted to pass that forward because like a lot of people just they don't have the resources. I certainly didn't when I started my business. I was lost for like the first year and a half because I just couldn't find anyone that I felt could help me.
Yeah.
And then when I did, and I saw like, wow, like I took the information, I implemented it, and I saw the results, and I realized I was also good at helping people. Like that became something that I realized, like, oh, like people actually respond to me, like when I say things, like they understand, and people wanted to learn from me. So that's kind of like how it happened, and I wanted to do something beyond services
Yeah.
because I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm like, well, I would like to, help other people with their business rather than just service my clients.
Right.
So it was just another way to diversify my time, my revenue. So that's really what got me into it too.
And what are some like common mistakes you see like beauty business owners make?
Oh, I talked about this the other day. Well, not knowing their numbers, and it's just you have to know them. You have to know that because a lot of people in the beauty space, what they do is typically this is how it works, right? You work for somewhere, you get fired or you get quit because you're just fed up. You have some of your savings or no savings. You go, you find a room and a studio, and you just go and you expect clients to like start coming through the door.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. That's what I did. And there's not, that's one way to go about it. I just wish that if I could go back and tell myself, something different, I would just be like, have a big vision and don't like have a bigger vision than just having clients in a studio. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where you start, but I know that I don't want to be behind the chair all the time. And time moves very fast in business. Like, I can't believe that we're in year 4. Before I know, we're going to be in year 5. And I'm already thinking of things for year 5, year 6, year 7.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, oh, we're thinking like so long. No, 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 no. That's just like how long things take to happen.
So true.
Before you know it, we're already going to be in 2027.
Yeah.
So if we're not already planning for 2027, like
No, we're
it's gonna
behind.
sneak up on you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
planning ahead and taking it serious that you're actually like, building something. Like this isn't a hobby. As soon as you decide to open up your own studio, whether it really is the size of a closet in just your room, like that is a business. And build a brand, not just a business. Not build something beyond you, because if something's always going to rely on you, it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable. I don't care what anyone says because I don't see anyone who is like 60, 70, like right now 60 and 70, and they're behind the chair and doing all the things that they don't have, that it's just them. Like it's just not And do you want that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that. Like, I don't
No.
want that. I want to be older with my at home with my kids. I'm retired because I set myself up properly to do so. But if you don't start thinking about that now,
Yeah.
it's going to sneak up on you. So, yeah. So, my advice is like, know your numbers, know your vision, build a brand, not a business. And yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing is like a lot of people they're so term minded and so like
Yeah,
okay like what's going on this month or like the next
right,
few months or like planning trips like not really thinking about okay like what does retirement look like for a lot of women that I work with it's like I'm asking them like you want to have kids in the next 2 years so how much money do you need to make so you're not fully in the day to day of your business while
right.
you just had your baby like
Yeah,
so
right,
like things like
right.
that.
It's so true. It's so true. Like I'm thinking about it now, like if anything were to happen unexpected, I'm just strapping the baby on me and I'm waxing. Like we're not stopping.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. So that's why it's like that's not where I'm at right now in my life. But that's why I work as hard as I do because before I know it, I'm gonna be in that stage and I don't want to get to that stage and wonder what am I gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, it's very important to think long term and not be scared of it. I think in the first couple of years, we're just in survival mode, but it's important to realize we got to get out of that. We can't grow something meaningful in survival mode in a scarcity mindset. Like we can't. So as soon as like you do all the things to get out of that, you have your essential like building blocks and you know like okay, we can start delegating and start growing and start thinking big picture. Like just start doing it. Like don't wait too long.
Yeah, and like I've had the opportunity to speak for like your coaching community, and I
Yeah,
love how like you focus on like how to price your services, understand your break even point.
for
Whereas I
sure.
find like a lot of coaches, you just see them saying like sales and marketing, and that's all you need to
Right.
focus on.
Right. Yes. And I just feel like it's part of, like if you don't know where you're at, you'll never know where you're gonna go. You can never even imagine where you want to go. Doesn't matter how good of your marketing and your sales are if you don't understand your numbers. Like it all is all equally important. Like one can't exist without the other, honestly. So you have to know all of it. And I feel like when people are just focused on what do I post on Instagram, like girl, who cares? Like who cares if you're charging if you're undercharging yourself? Why do you want to
Yeah,
bring in new clients at a price that isn't correct, isn't sustainable? Because now you're investing whatever. Let's say you're running ads, or let's say like you're busting your butt to post on Instagram all the time. You bring in this clientele that is not sustainable with your current pricing and you spent all this time, you raise your price, and now what happens? There's a resistance with this clientele. Either
right.
they leave, they probably will leave. So let's say
Yeah,
they leave. Now you just spent all this time
trying to get that
and
one
you just did
person.
right, like you just didn't do the foundational things, which is just understanding the market and understanding the pricing. And that's one thing I just wish that people would do more research, more not just oh let me copy and paste. And I'm saying this like I'm not saying this like I did this.
Yeah,
I did this. And I wish that I didn't, but I got out of it very quickly. Like within 3 months of opening my business, I realized my pricing model, my structure was not sustainable. And luckily I do have a business background. You know, I have a degree in that. So I understood like the fundamentals of things and I still made these mistakes. So I can't even imagine just being like, just having the experience of being an esthetician and not a business, and how it's just so new and it's so much to take in. But that's why it's so important to find the help, invest in the help, understand that it's important to get that help and not be scared of not making, it's like we get scared of, oh, this is a lot of money to invest in health. I'm like, no, it's going to cost you more if you don't understand these important fundamental things.
yeah, I totally agree. And a lot of times, like people that like rent a chair, their pricing is gonna be totally different than someone has like a full out studio. So there's
Yes.
no like copy and paste.
Yes, or someone, and again, I did this, or the same thing. It's like being a solo business owner, and then you have the same prices as a salon. Like babe, it's two different things when you're thinking about it just at the one point where you're one person taking one person at one time, whereas like a salon has like four, five, six, seven rooms running, they're taking seven clients at the same time, they can afford to charge a little bit lower because they're still going to make more than you.
So true.
So it's like simple things like that, but I understand why we don't look at, I again, I didn't think of it that way until I was in it. I was like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense.
The clients you coach, do you find there's like resistance, like once they see the numbers and how they should price, like increasing those prices or making the changes, do you find that there's a delay or like just mindset issues that come up?
For sure, there's some that they are resistant to it, but at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. So I understand, like we feel like that, oh, I gotta raise my price. But if you're not making money, then
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how you feel. It
so true.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like numbers don't lie. I'm like, just let's just take the emotion out of it.
Yeah,
Like if you are not profiting, you cannot continue to run your business. And if you can't continue to run your business, what are you doing this for? Go get a job.
yeah,
Have a less stressful life. There's nothing wrong with that. Find a good job and just do that. But if you don't want to do that, then we can't be scared to raise our prices. And I think we just live in a time where it's not so much the price, it's just the value of what your offer is. And having and then the marketing comes into that and the messaging and all the things, but it's like I don't feel bad if I have to raise my prices because everywhere is raising their price and they're not asking me, they're not sending an email blast campaign talking about, okay, I'm raising it by $5. No, I just do it because this is what's necessary for my business. So, the ones that have felt that resistance, we just like we take it all the way back. We're like, what are the numbers? How much is this costing you? Now you can see what you could do if you decide to raise your price by $10.
yeah,
You would be surprised how much a $5, $10 increase that isn't such a huge thing for your client could be a huge thing for your business. It could
so true.
literally bring in thousands more a month. So imagine for the year how much that could bring?
Yeah,
So it's like things like that, if we put it in perspective, and that's all that it is. It's like that mindset shift. It's like, okay, it's not just the price, it's like, what is this going to do for our business in the long run?
yeah. And then just running that forecast to see the impact.
Exactly, exactly.
You invest a lot in like your personal growth and development. So are you really intentional about like the communities, the events that you go to?
Yes, absolutely. Um, because I've already been yelled at by my accountant that I do too much. I do too much, and they're always like, okay, it's like also we got to think about what again, our intentions, like what is it that you're trying to get out of these events? So this year I have been a lot more intentional about where I invest my money in. But again, everything was necessary for me to get to where I'm at. I didn't blink twice if I had to, drop a couple hundred to go to an event and then get a flight, a hotel, like because it was necessary.
Yeah,
Now that we're in just in a different season, yeah, now I'm just like, okay, well, what is it that I need for my, like, from my business? What do I want to develop as a business owner? How am I going to get that? And then that's kind of where I'm at with what events I'm going to, what continuing education I put myself in because you don't want to do too much either after you've done a lot like I have because you already have a lot of the knowledge and we don't we so I was at an event and they called it like mental masturbation. So it's like you do all the things or you're stimulating your mind and you're going to all these events, but like are you taking the time to let it breathe and implement it?
yeah, so true.
Because you spent all that money and then you don't do anything with it, so isn't that
What's the
considered
point?
like not the best investment, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, so that's one thing. I'm very big on personal growth, but I think there's a lot of ways you can go about it too. I love podcasts. I've been getting back into like listening to audiobooks or even a YouTube video. Like
yeah,
Layla Harmozy has some great seven. I love her because it's 7 minutes, and I'm like, oh, she knows.
yeah,
She knows for the short attention span girlies like me. I'm like, just give it to me straight. What do I
yeah,
have to learn today? So it could be something so simple like that. You don't have to. go out and do all the things, but there's always a way to pour into yourself. So that's how I always keep it going, even though I haven't been super active in going out to events this first half of the year, but like this next half I might step it up a little bit more. I might go out a little.
Do you set like a budget for how much you're going to spend for the year?
Yeah, I go based on like our projections, and then I take like a percentage of that. So if let's say, okay, let's just say for example, like you're projected to make 100K this year. Let's say you
Yeah.
want to take 10% of that for continuing education. I know I have $10,000 that I'm willing to put in that. So that's how I do it. Um, but then I also just, if I don't have to hit that 10, then I'm not going to hit it because then I could go to other things.
That's so true.
But
Yeah.
at least, yeah, but at least like allowing yourself to, that way you just don't freak out about everything, every expense that you make. It's like, again, just all intentional. And, that comes with the anxiety. It calms down the anxiety when it comes to like dealing with money and all that.
Yeah, because I see like a lot of women that put themselves in debt, like joining coaching programs, going to masterminds, going to conferences, but it's like just more like busy work than actually like building connections or like
Right.
implementing what they're learning.
Right. They just want to say that they went,
Yeah.
and yeah, no. I always look at this like this is an investment. Like what is my ROI on this? And honestly, I'm good with one good connection. I don't care how much I spent.
Yeah,
One good connection, because one good connection will take you so far.
that is so
So
true.
far. Yeah. So I'm good. Or again, if it's like learning a new system, learning something like, I I'm okay with that. Like I know I always set my intentions before an event. I'm like, okay, what am I okay with getting out of so that I felt like this was worth my time and my money.
Yeah,
And
that
that,
makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, and like even like you're teaching like beauty business owners like how to run paid ads, you're sharing your own examples. So I feel like a lot more like business owners like need to start sharing those aspects too, like the mistakes they're making or what they're doing.
for sure, for sure. And it's just it's not as complicated as people
Yeah.
think. I think that it took me a while to get into what I do because I always was like, what? I was like, I don't have the money for that. That's just it's too complicated. How does this work? And now that I do it, I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not that bad. It's just putting the time in, and again, I think a lot of it is just mindset. But
Yeah.
you get to a point where it's like we're in this deep. Like
Yeah.
we're already doing all the things. Am I really gonna stop now? I might as well just like keep going and pull and keep going forward and do what I have to do to reach my ultimate goals.
Yeah, for sure. And like even working with like Britt and John, I feel like we learned so much about like all aspects of the business.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, no, that definitely learns basically so much of what I talk about now stems from their events and investing in them. Yeah.
And what do like the next 3 to 5 years look like for you?
Ooh, I've been thinking about this a lot. See, listen, I am a Gemini and I tend to change my mind a lot. I'm like, I don't know, do I like open up a storefront or do I just like go travel, go to Europe or something? I don't know, right? I was like, we'll see. But I think ultimately it's just having a business that supports whatever I choose. That's why I don't see myself being in the day to day. So I will say in the next 3 to 5 years, I don't want to be the face like I don't mind being like the face of like who you associate the brand with. I just don't want to be boots on the ground. I want to be able to have a team that I trust and can delegate things to, and I don't have to be an operator in the business anymore. I want to focus on more of the big picture strategy things. And that's because that's my strong suit. That's like really where I'm good. I'm great as an operator too. I just don't feel like I that's where I need to be.
Yeah. No, I get you
So
took the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm definitely the visionary. So building the right team next 3 to 5 years. I want to have a physical location, and I've been playing around with what that would look like because I want to do something different for sure. I don't want to do a typical salon or salon suite. I think we're good. I think there's enough of that. So I'm starting to see like what does the market need? What's it missing? So I have some exciting, I'm playing around with some ideas. But yeah, so have a physical location, have a team, and yeah, not be behind the chair anymore. That's actually like a big plan for me. I hope in the next 2 years I don't have to take clients anymore.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe just for funsies, but yeah, for sure that's gonna be that's not gonna be my goal. I wanna go, I wanna travel more, I wanna have opportunities that bring me to other cities. And yeah, so that's really what the plan is. Yeah.
So exciting. I can't wait to hear what you come up with for your physical
Yes.
space.
Yes.
What is like the best way for our audience to connect with you?
Instagram. I'm a big Instagram person. Anything that I post, anything like how to get in touch with me. So you can follow me at it's Zularie. We'll put it in the
I'll put in
description
the
of how
show
to
notes.
spell my name. But yeah, that's the best way to keep in touch with me.
Thank you so much, Zularie, for your time and sharing all
Thank
your
you.
insights.
Oh yes, it's so nice. Thank you so much for having me. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been like 43 minutes already.
Yeah, the time flew by.
Time flies when you're having a good time.
Yeah. If you're a founder who wants real strategy, not noise, and you want someone in your corner helping you build a business that feels aligned, is profitable, and actually supports your life, you can apply for CFO on Call. This is my one-on-one financial partnership for established founders, typically making between 500K to 2 million, who want clarity, who want structure and confidence with their numbers. The link is in the show notes so you can schedule a profit strategy call, or you can DM me CFO on Instagram at It's Cindy Kumar and I'll send over all the details.